Maverick News. The world is watching.
It's Kevin Michelizzi. We've got him waiting in the wings. So I'll run a transition here, and when we come back, we'll pick up our interview with him. You may recall we were talking earlier this week about, well, since Thursday, about these reports of a possible terrorist attack, the threat of that in Moscow, issued by the United States Embassy and some Western countries as well. Well, Kevin has been digging into things over there. He's going to bring us up to date on what the situation in Moscow is with regard to all of that. So stay with me. I'm coming back.
The information war is raging. Truth without integrity is worth nothing. Maverick News. Because those who have power and those who seek it must be held accountable.
The world is watching.
Join our family of truth seekers. Donate today and add your voice to the chorus of Maverick Knights. Donate at maverickdonations.com. Truth. Integrity. It's the Maverick way. Maverick News. The world is watching.
And welcome back, Kevin Michelizzi. Really appreciate
Rick.
you joining us again.
Yeah, thanks for having me on again. Got few duds to talk about tonight.
A few duds, yeah, but important duds, because we've been talking about these warnings of possible terrorist attacks in Russia. It's been spoken about a little bit over here. I think maybe getting a little more play over on your side. Let's start at the beginning. When did we first receive a warning with this, or any indication that there was anything going on in this sort of news thread? It began, I think, with this arrest with Moscow officials over there. Isn't that what happened?
Yeah. On Thursday morning, the Federal Security Bureau attempted to arrest two terrorists. We'll call them terrorists for sake of discussion, and from Kazakhstan. And they went in. The guys supposedly resisted. They were shot, killed, and now Kazakhstan is looking into it. We received this video, and actually I got this video from your end of the world. So
yeah, so this was Thursday, and
the thing that threw me about this is that squad car is not a police car. So I had to do some digging. That's actually a Ministry of Internal Affairs car.
That's
Which
interesting.
doesn't make sense in the realm of this. Yeah.
So the Ministry of Internal Affairs, what would be their area of jurisdiction? What is it that they oversee? Are they involved in policing of any kind?
They are not. The police here are all part of the military, and police cars, highway patrol, any of the official cars are all white with a stripe. If it's a red stripe, it is, like border security. I don't know what Ministry of Internal Affairs would be doing there. So, could be an investigator. I don't know. But police cars, any official cars that the military or the police use, are all white with the flag down the side of them.
So what does the Ministry of Internal Affairs do? Do you have clarity on that for us? Like, do they...
they're kind of responsible for a lot of things. Immigration, they're the guys that send the agents out to arrest you if you overstay your visa.
So it would make sense in a way for them to be there because these two people arrested were from Kazakhstan. Yeah. So an immigration issue, I guess, in that way.
Yeah.
What about anything else in this video that kind of threw you off? I mean, what we're saying here is you were concerned that it might be fake at one point. Do you think it is authentic, or do you think that any of it has been fabricated or adjusted?
You know, the initial one that I saw, I felt had some bad parts in it. Like I say, the Ministry of Internal Affairs car still throws me. And but these guys that you just saw with looks like they have small backpacks on their back, those are FSB guys in FSB investigative uniforms. So we see these kinds of takedowns occur, I don't know, once a week, once every couple of weeks. It's a common occurrence. It's gotten more often recently. And I think, part of these terror cells are, they're set up by the SBU in Ukraine. And this is the kind of warfare that they've said they were going to go for. So the only thing that I really see that's odd, there's some of the actions in this video, I don't know. Usually you don't see the guys killed, so, the way they're showing the evidence and stuff, usually they line up passports, things like that. So it's really hard for me to say. So yeah, the Ministry of Interior is responsible for drafting and implementing government policy, legal regulations around internal affairs in the country and migration. So
I see.
I would have expected to see a squad car there, but the FSB is usually showing up in, a white van or an unmarked car.
So these two suspects were, I think the word that was used was, were liquidated, killed at the scene. That's why that video is digitized, blurred out.
And these guys throw me a little bit too. You've got, we've gone from the FSB guys who were FSB guys to guys in jeans with hoods on, black jackets, blue gloves. I have no doubt that the arrests were made, but I'm not sure of the authenticity of the rest of this video. Could be perfectly fine.
The chemicals here, do you have any idea what that stuff is? Looks like maybe ammonia or like what are they getting at here? They're trying to say this is like for making bombs or what?
Yeah, I don't know what that one is. This particular bottle is acetone.
Okay. Well,
that's what the red label on the label says is acetone.
Well, I have some of that in my garage, but I'm not making anything bad with it.
I've got a
Some painting
5-liter
stuff.
jug of it out here too. So,
So I wonder what they're suggesting was being done with these things, because I didn't see in the reports here, or even the reports that I found from over there, any indication as to what exactly they might have been doing. No, nothing to say that they were making explosives, just no information. So I'm not sure what the significance of this is.
and usually when the FSB makes an arrest, they're lining up all the weapons and ammo and stuff, and we didn't see very much of that either. So, we can only make assumptions that, fire bombing or Molotov cocktails or some kind of bomb, but, nobody's saying anything. And reality is there aren't a lot of reports over here either. They're talking about it as much here as you're hearing over there.
Yes, and I didn't report on it until I saw other reports come out about it. And I did see, because I wasn't sure what was going on. And if there's one thing I've learned during this new normal for media, is that it's sometimes it's wiser to wait. It's good to be first with information if you can be, but I'd rather wait and make sure that we're accurate. So there were reports like this. This is the Moscow Times reporting on this. Then I saw that they were using a still image, or it appears to be a still image from the video.
And that is an FSB guy.
Okay. So this appeared to me then to give it, to support the legitimacy of the report and the quotes from official Russian sources. So it indicated to me that, this was an arrest that really did take place. That being said, even something like this could be used for public relations, or you might even say propaganda purposes, or maybe they're trying to just make sure the public is safe in some way, so they're trying to put a message out. I'm not sure, but it looked legit.
Yeah, and I think, it's like they say an attack on a synagogue. And I think what I sent you yesterday, the official statement from the FSB, see if I've got that here. But I think it said that they were planning terror attacks on synagogues in the Moscow region. So it implied it may have been one, it may have been many.
Yes. And that seems in line with what I'm seeing around the world and even here at home. There is a real rise in anti-Jewish feelings out there. We're seeing a rise in attacks against Jewish people all over the place. I could read some of the messages I've been receiving today just because we did a show last night and we were talking about the Israel-Gaza situation, and of course that just triggered a lot of people. I've got one right here on my phone right now with language that I wouldn't dare repeat.
Well, it's kind of like the airport thing in Dagestan. I think we get some outside forces involved in it, and they get people stirred up. That was aimed at Jews as well. There's Jews on that plane, they should be sent home. So I think this has some play in it anyway.
Yeah.
But like I say, we have these arrests all the time. I'm looking at a notice here from the day before, Wednesday, that says the FSB in Crimea stopped the activities of an Islamist cell in Crimea. And that's the whole thing. It was reported by the FSB of Russia, and the next day they had a 3-sentence blurb that these guys were put in prison for I don't remember how long it was, several years, and that's it. Nobody talks about it.
So we have this. It does appear that this was a legitimate story there.
Yeah.
It looks like these two guys were killed. We have, I guess, intelligence officials from Kazakhstan looking into it as well for whatever reasons they might want to. So they're investigating. But then after Thursday, things were amplified because we got this announcement of some kind, right, from the U.S.?
Yeah, it started Thursday, probably around 11 o'clock in the morning. The U.S. Embassy put out this warning that Americans should not come to Moscow. They should, avoid gathering in large groups or being anywhere where there's large groups of people for the next 48 hours. So we can assume they meant, Thursday and Friday. Friday was a holiday here where there's typically large gatherings because of International Women's Day. But here we are on Sunday, nothing's happened. I have friends in Moscow, Westerners, who were at volleyball matches. They were, at parties for March 8th. People out shopping. people paid no attention to it. And then, of course, on top of that, we had the UK, and then we followed that with Germany and Spain and several other Western European countries. And that got tied into this terror attack thing somehow. And I think they're two totally separate things. I think it's maybe the West using that arrest as maybe some kind of a propaganda piece. I've had some people say, well, gee, maybe the U.S. found out about it, U.S. intelligence, and they told the Russians, and the Russians went in and arrested these guys. I have been told by sources who know for a fact that this was an investigation that was going on for a little while anyway, as they usually are.
And there was no indication that the U.S. or any of these other Western countries notified authorities in Russia about any of this. They just, it seems like, and the information we seem to have is that the warning was just issued with no consultation or communication with the Kremlin. Is that right?
Yeah, and I saw one report that said they did not notify the Russian authorities. How anyone would know that, I don't know. Even here we have some news sources that aren't particularly truthful all the time. Add a little spin to it,
I did see some independent reports about that. Well, not the arrests, but the liquidation of those two Kazakhstani terrorists, indicating that they just threw in there that it was a CIA-backed thing. But, I mean, how the hell would they know? Like, maybe it is, maybe it isn't. I don't know.
Yeah, I agree. No way of telling. And if it was, would the CIA be pushing a bunch of embassies to all of a sudden release these notices? I actually think this was more likely, a way to get Westerners to stop coming to Russia. A lot of tourists here right now. It's the time of year where, we've got Germans and Irishmen, a lot of Europeans even visiting Crimea. And migration here of Westerners has been growing. A year ago, there was something like 300 Westerners. Now it's in the several thousand range of people applying to live here or people working here. And we're talking about Americans in those numbers. The numbers of foreigners is, larger than that. But there's a big push for Westerners. We get this a lot. My wife and I actually make, some income helping people migrate here. And we, over the last 6 months, have been contacted almost on a daily basis by people looking for help to migrate to Russia. And, maybe it was using the opportunity of these arrests to, say, hey, Westerners, it's dangerous, don't go to this country. Something that just last week there was a youth conference up near Moscow.
The World Youth Conference, yeah.
Yeah. And here, a lot of children, teenagers from foreign countries were there. This group of foreign students was actually brought here to Crimea, and they were put up for 3 days by the Russian government to show them what it was really like in Crimea. And they interviewed some of these students, and the interviews I saw, some of the kids were saying, gee, you've got nice roads here. We've been told that Russia has destroyed everything on the Crimean Peninsula. You don't have electricity. You've got, the roads are all torn up. Things are in disrepair. One kid said, gee, we didn't think you even had lights here anymore. And, so Russia's kind of spinning these warnings as getting the West to not want people to see the way Russia really is. And I could buy into that. I have no proof of that, but it kind of makes sense,
Yeah.
especially from what we've seen.
So they took some of these young people from the World Youth Conference in Moscow and brought them out to Crimea. Some of them chose to go there to do a little sightseeing, essentially, is what it was.
Yeah, they offered to bring them here at the cost of the Russian government to let them do some sightseeing, see the beauty of Crimea.
Pretty interesting. So we had the liquidation and the video with that, but you've also piqued my interest with another video. This is a video of what appears to be some arrests or something. Can we take a look at this, and can you explain what it is for our viewers, Kevin?
Yeah, I gave you this video because I've been accused of being a Putin apologist, and I just want to show that I'll pick on Russia too. So supposedly, this is the Ukrainian military commissars who stopped a van of 34 people, 34 men, trying to evade military service, supposedly paid 10,000 euros apiece to be taken across the Romanian border. Now, 10,000 euros is a lot of money for a Ukrainian. And when I saw this video, the first thing that struck me is every one of these guys has a military haircut. So if they're trying to escape military service and they've paid to go across the border, then how did they get these military haircuts ahead of time? And this guy, they're, slapping them with the palms of their hand, kicking them with the side of their boot. And this isn't what these guys do when they want to hurt someone. That's a fake kick. And then this guy pulling them out. Some of these guys are falling out before he even touches them. So these are not guys that are trying to get away from these commissars. And I've seen some fights of people trying to get away, and they don't just lay there in a big pile like that. I think this is pure propaganda. It is a Ukrainian license plate on this white vehicle. But that doesn't mean anything either.
So how did you find this, or what's the context in which it was presented? What were they trying to tell people with this?
I got this off of a pro-Russian Telegram channel, a news source. And what they were telling people is, look at how bad it is where people are paying a ton of money to escape military service. And look how badly these commissars beat people who try to escape. I've seen real ones, and it's usually they're going after one or two guys. And this one was just, this one said fake all over it.
And you see the way he's hitting him on the head. It's like slapping him. I don't think that's the way they would do it.
Yeah, one hand.
And then with the side of the boot. No, if you were trying to, if they would use the toe of their boot, I think. And then this, it's the guy jumped out of the van. Did you see that?
Yeah,
he's jumping.
And the one guy in the red, after he's out, and they're pulling another guy out, he's covering his head with one hand.
And he's just one after the other. He's super strong. He's like a super commissar man. He's
beating them so hard they can't get up and they can't run.
Yeah.
If you've got 34 guys trying to evade military service and avoiding going to, this was termed as avoiding going to the meat grinder. They don't have that many guys pulling them out. Some of these guys would be getting up and running.
Well, tonight is the Academy Awards, and I think they should make a new
best film.
Yeah, or best fake video.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, that's
So
funny.
people should know that Russia puts out a good amount of propaganda too. Everybody does.
Yes, that's true.
And I get people
So,
that argue
yeah.
with me, no, the Russian media is so honest. Um, RT is a fairly good source of news, but they're also probably the second largest propaganda machine here. The first one being the Moscow Times.
Well, we have our share of propaganda on this side too. Some stuff you can believe, other stuff it has
You have to look at,
an
yeah.
agenda behind it, right?
Yeah.
So,
And I think there was an agenda behind this whole embassy warning thing. Like I say, we're basically 4 days later, and they still have this notice up there. I looked at it just before we came on the
really,
air. So
yeah. Well, that when I reported, I provided something of an update last night. I said I didn't see any indication that the warning had been rescinded. It seemed
Yeah.
to still be in effect, and 48 hours had gone by. No indication of any problems over there, and people, I guess, really didn't take much note of it, right? Because did the Russian officials respond in any way to what the American warnings were saying?
the only thing, and I don't remember what official it was. If I was going to put a name to it, I'd probably say Medvedev, because he's kind of like our Lindsey Graham over here. But somebody said, gee, it's just the Western countries not wanting people to come and see what Moscow and Russia is really like.
Well,
they want to maintain that bad guy attitude and don't want people to see that life is normal here.
Well, I'm glad that you were able to join us today and kind of help us understand what has really been going on with this. As I've reported on it piecemeal over the past few days, the information has been it's been difficult to understand what it all means and kind of bring it all together. I said, and from the very beginning, I don't really know what's going on with this. It seems a little bit strange. So I'm really appreciative of your efforts here, Kevin.
Yeah, I don't think I'm helping you put a nail in it at all, but
Yeah.
I think we can definitely say that the terror attack thing is a regular occurrence, and it's a separate thing from the the warnings. Maybe the warnings were issued as just a jumping off point from those arrests.
All right. Is there anything else you'd like to draw our attention to today? Anything you think we've missed?
Nope, I don't think so.
All right. Kevin Michelizzi, and just one more time, tell people how to find your work when you're not here.
When I'm not here, you can find me on YouTube at American Crimea or at InfoWars Press.
All right. Thank you, Kevin Michelizzi. We'll be back, folks.
Thank you, Rick.
Right after this.